Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 4 of our Moody Talks for the month of Mental Health Awareness Month. So we've gone through a bunch of different principles of DBT, which is a form of therapy that I've used in the past and has been really great for me, and I still use because it's a very helpful form of therapy that helps you to get through different parts of your life and big emotions, issues with interpersonal communication, that kind of thing, and also like mindfulness. So we went through the weeks with the principles. First week we did mindfulness. Second week we did interpersonal communications. Third week we did emotion regulation. And I'm ending the series with distress tolerance. Now this is a great skill set to learn because distress tolerance is when you've gotten to a point where it's just too much, where the intensity of the emotion is too much for you, that you need to do something to take your mind off of it, or that makes you feel as though you're maybe giving back in a way and changing that negative emotion to something more positive. So today I'm going to work with 2 skill sets that DBT really pushes that I use a lot. One is called TIP, and TIP is a skill set that you use when just breathe isn't enough, right? This is when you're in a really intense emotion. You need to take yourself out of it because you are really in a lot of distress from it. Okay, and then the second one I'll be talking about is accepts. And accepts is a tool set that you can use to help. It's not as intense. It can help you to put your mind in other places, like I said, like giving back to a community or something like that. Just tips that you can use, ways that you can build up skills when you are feeling that distress, but not to the point of that intensity of you just can't even breathe, right? So I'll start off with the more intense one, which is TIP. Here we go. I did do TIP and I did do accepts before in other months with different emotions. So you may recognize these worksheets, but I've redone them for the month and they will be up on the website. Okay, so we're going to start with using TIP. Okay, so TIP, as I said before, is a DBT coping skill and it's for distress tolerance. So what is distress tolerance? When your emotional intensity is too high to just breathe, okay? And TIP is an acronym to remember when you need to lower the intensity of your emotions. So these tips, these different skill sets, some of them will work for you, some of them may not. Like some of them work for me and some of them don't. This very first one does not work for me, but it works for a lot of other people. I just can't stand temperature change too much, but I know that a lot of people will use tea for changing your body temperature. Because it's a quick fix, gets you out of the moment, gets you thinking of the feeling of your body instead of what's going on in your head, okay? So tip is changing your body temperature. Cold water can be a major wake up when you're feeling intense anger. So yeah, it just snaps you out of the moment because you're suddenly having a totally different intense feeling in your body, and that's what you're going to be focusing on, right? So some people will fill a large bowl with water and ice and take the plunge. Hold your breath and put your face into the bowl. And you can count. Some people can count to 5. Some people will count to 10 just to keep it there, to make sure that they get the full amount of the intensity of the cold water. Okay. Other people, and I've done this before. This one, it takes that you need to remember to do it, to create some and put them in the freezer before you actually have to use them. So keep frozen washcloths balled up in the freezer. Take it out when you need it, and rub on your face or pull it apart. Okay, so this one actually does really work. You just have to remember to get yourself some washcloths, get a lot of water into them and maybe squeeze out some and put them in a bowl and put them in the freezer So when you need this intense change of temperature, you can just get into the freezer, take one of them out and start pulling them with your hands, pulling them apart. It's a really good feeling. Or putting them on your face and letting them melt on you until the washcloths get softer. Okay, so that's tip, changing body temperature. And then we go on to intense exercise. So this one actually helps me and is one of the reasons why every day I do some sort of intense exercise during the day to get my anxious energy down. It's really important for me to do that. But in the moment, if you're having extremely tense or intense emotions, it might be a good idea to use this intense exercise. So exercise can help you out of your head. Wear yourself out. Take the intense energy and use it to physically exhaust your body. Go for a run or a long walk, which maybe has like a ton of hills. Something that, will really wear you down in the end. Maybe go, if you have weights, go use your weights for a longer period of time and maybe with more repetitions, something like that, a heavier weight, and really work on exhausting yourself with those, okay? A short burst of running using heavier weights than normal, jumping as if you have a jump rope, all can move your emotional thoughts to how your body is feeling. So I is intense exercise. Now P has two P's, okay? First, there's paced breathing. This one really works for me. I do a couple of different paced breathing exercises, and I believe I wrote one down in here. So we'll go through that. Focusing on exactly how you're breathing can help you get out of your head. So box breathing is a great way to focus primarily on your breath. This is what I do. And not only do I use this in intense moments, but I also use it right before bed because it tends to let my body relax while I'm doing the count. So what you do, and why they call it box breathing, is you're going to count 4. You're going to breathe in with a 4. You're going to hold your breath with 4. You're going to breathe out for 4, and then you're going to hold your breath for 4 again. So breathing in, 4, hold, and then you do it again. Keep doing it. What I've noticed when I'm doing this in bed especially is that my jaw starts to loosen. My tongue is no longer at the top of the roof of my mouth. It starts to loosen up. If your tongue is at the top of your mouth, the roof of your mouth, you are being tense in your mouth. When you let go of your tongue on the roof of your mouth, you tend to relax a little more. So that's just a tip from me, okay? So focus on breathing into your belly and pushing all of the breath out, making your belly feel empty. So that's another great way, especially with the box breathing. When you're focusing on your breath, doing a breath like that goes deep inside your belly really gets like a full breath inside. When you're breathing into your chest, you're not getting a full breath. So breathe in with the belly. So breathe it all out. Okay, so that is paced breathing. That's just 2 things of paced breathing. There are other ones too. There are circular ones, and they're all over the internet. So I suggest if box breathing doesn't work for you, maybe try a different kind of paced breathing that you can find online. You can even probably find them on like Calm, where they do the meditations and the breathing, and they tell you exactly what to do at that time. Okay? And then the other P is paired muscle relaxation. This one's interesting. I can never remember to do this, but when I do it, it actually works. So focus on muscle tension while counting your breath. So you can do this with the paced breathing. Okay? While breathing in, tense all of your muscles so your body feels stiff. So holding them really tight. Hold your breath while you notice the tension. Breathe out and let your muscles completely relax. Okay? Be careful not to tense too much so you don't cause cramps, right? You can also do say relax when breathing out when you're relaxing your muscles. So that is tip, and I highly recommend trying out some of these, like tips, tricks for when you have an intense emotion that you really need to just get out. You need to like focus on something different. Okay? So next we'll focus on accepts. Now accepts is something that you kind of build up. So it's accepts is an acronym for distress tolerance. Okay? So this is more along the lines of you build this up. Okay? So you're building up these things that you can do to help you take your mind off of the intense emotion. Maybe it's not so intense because these ones are more thought-provoking or action-based, okay? So, accepts. It starts out with activities. Have you any favorite hobbies or exercise? So again, activities is like exercise, like we talked about in tips, the intense exercise. And, just doing, maybe even going for a hike or knitting. People who knit can really start to, feel more calm because they go to their Zen place, right? So first would be activities. Second would be contributions. Do you have a special charity you could call to see if they need volunteers? So this may be something where you just do the call and you book a time to go help out your charity that you like. And that can take you out of the moment and make you feel better because you're feeling like you're giving back to the community. You're doing something good for someone else, right? C. So this C is not my favorite. It's in here. And it does help for some people, but it does not work for me. And I sometimes will tell people it's not healthy to do this. Comparisons. Are you feeling more or less in distress than past situations? Or contributions can also mean, and I didn't put it in here, I'm sorry, comparisons mean comparing yourself to other people. And sometimes I don't think that's the best way to do it, but you can compare how you feel right now to other situations in the past that you felt this way. Does it feel more intense? Does it feel better? Are you in a worse place than you were in that past situation, right? But see, also comparisons also does mean comparing yourself to other people and what they're going through. Again, it's up to you. It may work for you, may not work for you because it makes you feel worse. Kind of makes me feel worse. So I go with the comparisons of, am I feeling better or worse than the last time something like this happened? Okay, then emotions. Check the facts, which we talked about, and this was during, I believe this was last week. This was emotion tolerance. No, this is distress tolerance. But for your emotions, check back last week for check the facts. It's a really, really important skill set to learn. Okay, is the feeling that you're feeling really the emotion that you should be feeling in this? And this talks more about primary and secondary emotions, which I talked about before. You can have a primary emotion that you feel during a situation and it immediately switches to a secondary emotion. Now this can happen like, say, well, for me, if I get scared, I immediately go to anger because I feel like I'm more in control of that emotion. It may still feel just as bad, but my mind thinks that, okay, I can control anger better. And I'm more in control of the situation if I'm angry rather than scared. Okay, so if you check the facts and you realize you're feeling angry, but you actually should be feeling, or the original emotion was fear, then working with that emotion can help you to calm your distress. Okay, and understanding exactly what you are feeling in the moment. Pushing away. So this is leaving the situation and taking a break. And some people really need to do this. I do this often when I get into an argument. I say, I gotta go. We'll talk about this later. So pushing away, a lot of people may say, oh, you're running away from a situation, but you're not. You're coming out of the situation so you can have a better understanding and go back in under control emotionally and with the facts and the needs that you have to give to people, what you need from them. Okay. T is thoughts. Try counting to 10 or singing a favorite song in your head. So I love singing my songs. This one really works. Maybe turn on some of your favorite music and sing along with it. And then finally, sensations. Use a squeeze ball or listening to music really loud. If you listen to it really loud, you're hearing it very loudly, and that's a sensation. Or using the squeeze ball, or like I said earlier with the tip, go ahead and grab a frozen washcloth and start ripping it apart, that kind of thing. Okay, so these are more things that you kind of have to remember that you have in your skill toolbox, right? Whereas tip is something that you need right away to get yourself out of those emotions. So I hope that this helped. This is the end of the month, so distress tolerance was our last one. Please let me know if you want me to talk about anything else. If you have questions or comments, please do not hesitate to put them in the comments below or DM me, and let me know what you think. Next month, I'm not quite sure where I'm going next month. We'll see. I did a lot of emotions before this, and I may try to focus on other things that people may want to learn more about. So hope you guys have a great rest of the week and month, and we will see you next week. Have a good one. Bye.